All right, welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. I am joined by my partner in crime, number 88, Preston Denard. How are we, sir?
Yes, sir. Doing quite well. Glad to be back with you again. And boy, just gets better and better.
Just gets better and better. And the world is in a place where, and I'm saying the world of sports, I guess, for the most part, we don't want to get into the other stuff. This is a relief from all that. How about what's going on in the world of sports the last 2 weeks? We have plenty to unpack.
Is there something we could cheer about? Is it in Dallas?
Oh,
Is it Dallas that's having problems and trouble?
I, I mean, let's start there. Let's just jump right into this. If you're a Cowboys fan this morning, uh, I don't know. Ouch. I
No,
don't know what else to say. I am
I know
blown away.
exactly. I know exactly what to say.
You got robbed.
You got robbed.
Right.
You got robbed, baby. I'm telling you right now. But hey, kick it off, brother. So I got plenty to say.
Well, this is unbelievable. And as a guy, I mean, back in my day watching you, the Cowboys were one of the arch rivals. If it wasn't the San Francisco 49ers, the Cowboys, Vikings, 49ers, kind of hate them all. Although the NFC West was a lot different for you kids out there. There was Falcons and Saints back then. No Seahawks, no Cardinals. Really weird to see how this has all evolved. But oh my goodness, the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to say it right here. Are they imploding or what? They signed Brian Schottenheimer. You might remember him as an offensive coordinator under Jeff Fisher for our Rams and several other stops. The Seahawks, I believe. They just elevated him. He was already on the staff to head coach and gave him a 4-year deal. What is going on in Dallas?
There's
Insane.
somebody named Jerry Jones. And where there's a Jerry Jones, there is chaos. And
Wow.
the reason there's chaos is because he initiates it. He doesn't
Yeah.
think it through. Now, are we that great of pros to just identify the proper process that needs to be in place for the Dallas Cowboys? No, it's the Dallas Cowboys. They do everything big. They do everything bigger in the stupidity department. But I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say Schottenheimer is that bad of a call, but it's a truly unexpected call. I don't know if he's ready. He's not any more ready than Deion Sanders. He's not any more ready than anybody else. And when you've got a proven seasoned guy who, if he keep guys on the field healthy, they might be able to win some games. But when you got guys that are arguing all the time, they're not in sync, in tune, they all are opinionated, and it's 2025. Egos and attitudes are reigning high in the state of Texas.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, and give him a 4-year deal. I'm going to call it right now. I'll be shocked if he makes it 2 seasons, which means there'll be dead money. And I cannot wrap my head around it. Rumors from the national media this morning are that Jerry Jones' sons talked him into this.
Oh,
That they're the ones in love with Schottenheimer. He's been on their staff. They've been watching him. Okay, I get it. No one requested an interview with Brian Schottenheimer. No other 31 of the NFL teams. He was not on anybody's radar. He makes a splash last week with Neon Dion, former Cowboy, Super Bowl champion. Shedeur Sanders is in the draft. I mean, there's all these storylines. I thought he was going to go that route, but then he also doesn't even go with Kellen Moore,
no.
who's the coordinator there in Philly, and Brian Schottenheimer, whose name is NFL royalty. We all get it. Marty
We
Schottenheimer,
know Marty. Yep.
Yeah. But what in the world? You've got Dak Prescott on a long-term deal. You signed CD to a long-term deal. I'm calling it now. They're going to want trades. This is an absolute disaster.
Do you think this is a call by Jerry Jones to say, okay, I give. We're going to develop our team. I'm going to give us 2 years, maybe a year. I don't know if he can afford even a year, but you need to win now. And to win now, is that the right hire for you? Boy, time will tell and will tell soon. But here's the key. You've got a young man who's been a quiet, grooming entity. He comes from royalty, NFL royalty. He comes from the experience of a dad who's been in the league for a ton of years, been successful, not so successful, been a journeyman too as well. Schottenheimer has been that quiet guy that has gone here, gone there, moved all around, gathered all of this knowledge and wisdom, and probably has a discipline. But for Jerry Jones or the crew to say that they've been watching him, they notice something. We need to take heed to that because maybe there's a nice little surprise that's waiting on us for the next guy who is a true champion, like our guy from New England. And I tell you what, with him going to North Carolina, who knows how that's going to turn out? I don't think he's going to be as successful as New England. But when you talk about young Schottenheimer, let's give him a shot. Now, it's not always a wise decision by Jerry Jones, right? He doesn't always, we don't always like his choices. But I'm not going to sit here, Stace, and say, horrible, horrible, crazy, stupid move. But totally unexpected, totally not even considered, but there's something in that choice for him to want to make that move and do it. Now, here's the backdraw to that. The backdraw is you still got Jerry Jones hovering over his shoulders. So will he be just a quiet coach that's on the sideline taking all of the instructions from up top? Or will his personality come into play and will he actually be the head coach? Who's his offensive coordinator? Who's going to be his D coordinator? Who's going to be his, there's a whole bunch that you need to put in place before you think about this head coaching deal. Because don't you think that move would have been made at any time during this process? But he made it right now for a reason. I'm very curious at that.
Interesting. Because I can't wrap my head around it.
Right.
You let Mike McCarthy walk after he had Schottenheimer on his staff. Why didn't you just stay with McCarthy? Like, what was so bad about Mike McCarthy that Brian Schottenheimer, who was on the staff, is going to be so much better at? And you add to that we've seen Schottenheimer's offense. It's just like his dad's. So is Jerry Jones just want a team? I mean, what do you do with CeeDee Lamb? What do you do with the great tight end they got there? And then you got Dak Prescott signed to one of the largest contracts in the NFL. You're going to turn into a running team? Because Schottenheimer is 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's his offense. That's why Jeff Fisher had him as a Ram. He just wanted to play defense and win games, 14-10. So I just can't figure this out. He has been there. And you've got all these great young minds with the other teams scooping them up, running to get everybody off the Sean McVay coaching tree. And Jerry Jones goes back 20 years and grabs a guy who was already working down the hall. This is insane. I unlike you, I can't even imagine what a Dallas Cowboys fan is feeling this. Well, I can't imagine. They can't be happy. Find me one who's happy.
They're blind. They don't know any difference.
No.
It's blue and silver. But let me throw this out at you, Stacy. Compare that move to the move that the Jets did with Aaron Glenn.
Oh.
Totally different mindset, totally different pitcher, and a different projection of professionalism. Somebody who's in the fire, somebody who is really the top of his coaching genre as far as who's exceeding right now as a potential it's a great hire by the Jets. Great hire by the Jets.
Really?
Totally. Oh, I think so. Totally different. If you go apples to apples, you got a former player, you got a top draft pick, you got a guy that's invested in coaching, who's always had a stellar career in Aaron Glenn, and he's been in the fire as a coordinator and a coach for years in the NFL. He's seasoned, he's ready, he's been out there in the fire. He knows the game, he feels the game, he coaches the game. Schottenheimer, how many folks even knew he was on that Dallas Cowboys coaching roster? That's my point. But there's got to be something behind this for us to go, what? There's got to be something special. They see something in him. Maybe it's the discipline, but if he's smart, he's going to surround himself with the top players like an Aaron Glenn in all of his other coaching positions. Because I don't see him doing it by himself.
But without, I want to come back to Aaron Glenn. I'm so glad you brought that up. But staying with the Cowboys for a minute, who is going to be on Schottenheimer's staff?
Yeah, there you
I
go.
mean, the coaching ranks have been pilfered. The only NFL team now looking for a head coach is the New Orleans Saints. I mean, so I'm sitting here thinking, Brian Schottenheimer, we know his offense. We've seen it for years. Everybody knows that offense. We saw it on the Cowboys. He was running the offense for Dallas under Mike McCarthy. What is he going, how is he going to fill out that coaching staff? I mean, I think that when they look at Brian Schottenheimer, they just see a guy they can control.
Yeah.
And I saw it on Mike McCarthy. Like McCarthy was second tier to Jerry Jones. After the game, what other owner shows up to do a press conference?
I know.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week.
Excuse me? I thought I was here for
Yeah.
the press conference. Okay.
Insane. Insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
Dallas is dysfunctional. I think it's toxic. I love your take. I'm very interested. As always, you put a positive spin on this, that maybe there's something we don't see. Dallas Cowboy fans listening in right now want to hug you because I think they're having a meltdown.
Well, it's probably the best positive emphasis that they could think of right now. There's hope. I don't know if there's hope, but there's something somebody sees that we're not seeing. And of course, based on the information we have and the experience of seeing him and how he grew in the game, maybe his tenureship in the NFL and association with the NFL has qualified him with the years of service he's put in. I don't know. Where else has he been other than just assistant coach, a personnel guy, that kind of a deal? I think it's a totally different hire than Aaron Glenn. That's what I say.
Well,
It's
yeah.
totally different. But when you think about it, the Jets want to win now. What is Jerry Jones trying to do? I thought they needed to win right now. I don't know if this is a move for them. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you're
how
right.
he puts a staff together, because
You're-
I don't get it either.
It's incredible when you think about, because he's supposed to be the smart business guy. I agree. He's got to win now. He was telling people all last season, I'm all in. Really? Didn't look like it. But you've got one of the highest paid quarterbacks.
Yep.
You've got one of the highest paid wide receivers. You've got an offensive line that probably needs some help going into the draft. I got to believe they're targeting Janty from Boise State. They want to get their next Emmitt Smith, and they just want to plug him in with Dak and CeeDee Lamb and go for it. But man, I got to tell you, I am baffled by this one. Baffled.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Aaron Glenn. I'm so glad you brought him up. First, I love Aaron Glenn. I think he is a massive stud. He's also one of the coolest looking coaches in football. Sorry, folks. He just looks like a stud.
Oh, yeah. He's a star.
He is a star. But unlike you, I got to tell you, man, I feel like he's been set up to fail. I do. And I'm brokenhearted by it. I didn't want him to go to the Jets.
No,
I was
nobody
hoping.
wants to go to. Who wants to go to the Jets?
Yeah, I wanted him to go to Jacksonville or so. At least he's got some pieces on defense. And I know that's what he was looking at with the Jets, right? Sauce Gardner, he's got some pass rushers. But he doesn't have a quarterback.
He doesn't, but he can go get one. Stace,
How?
He can go get
Where?
one. Well, I mean, here's
The
the
draft is terrible. I'll get to that at the end today.
You know what? So we get into the question about, is Aaron Rodgers really the answer? Now, like you feel about Schottenheimer, I feel
Right.
that about, well, you know.
I
Aaron
know you
Rodgers.
do. Yeah.
Matter of fact, 2 years ago, he should have retired.
He's not your guy. I know.
I keep telling my son, dude, he should have, when he left the Packers, he should have retired. And I
think
telling
he
him,
will.
I said, yeah, and I keep telling him, I said, you know, Aaron Rodgers got injured again. And he, no. See, that's the problem we have. You can't trust that. And he's not the quarterback that Aaron Glenn's going to depend on. That being set up, he's probably been brought in to make that decision because nobody else is going to make that decision. But you got Cam Newton out there basting about how great Aaron Rodgers is and he's a pro, he's this, he's that. He can't do any more than a young, healthy guy coming in there teaching him the game. Smart decisions, yes, you got to balance that out with the physical ability to still do what you used to do. And if you physically can't do it and some other guy can do it, but he doesn't have the knowledge and the wisdom, do you let Aaron Rodgers stick around so he can groom that next young guy? And does Aaron Glenn get the okay to say, I'm investing, developing this team my first year, look for me to do something the second year? I don't know if it's a setup. I don't know how you could set them up on a team like the Jets because they're already at the bottom of the totem pole. So you can't fail much there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a happy transition for any coach, but I think if anybody could do it, Aaron Glenn, he's the one.
Well, Glenn's a stud. I was a little crushed that he went to the Jets. I just
was
feel
too.
like, I mean, it's a poverty franchise. Sorry, Jets fans, for way too long. And at the end of the day, I'm just looking at the roster going, I get it. He looked at the defensive side of the ball and went, I could do something with that.
Yep.
But he doesn't have a quarterback. Here's what I predict. I think Aaron Rodgers is done with football.
I do too.
Early prediction. I think he's done. He's not going to have him back, even if he isn't. I think that the Jets staff is looking around on rosters at some of these young backups. Glenn came from Detroit. Hendon Hooker is sitting behind Jared Goff, and he's got talent. The kid up in New England that came in the last week, Joe Milton.
Yeah.
I could almost see him building an offensive scheme somewhat around the Ravens, like what they do with Lamar. Heavy on the tight end, running game, options with an athletic quarterback. What about Malik Willis, the kid in Green Bay? What about I think that's what the Jets are going to do because Preston, I'm going to go on record right now, and I want your opinion. You're the Jets, and you'd bring in Aaron Glenn. You're the Browns. Any of these teams. This has to be one of the worst quarterback classes in the NFL draft I have ever seen. I'm sorry, I am not sold on Shedeur Sanders at all.
Yep.
Career backup. You got Jackson Dart now is climbing the ranks. He looks like Will Levis to me in Tennessee, same kind of player.
Yeah.
If you need a quarterback and you're Aaron Glenn, you could play defense, but you got to be able to play offense in this league.
You do. And so if you go after now, they're high up in the draft. And I can't remember what their pick is.
I don't know which pick. Let me take a peek.
And where are the Cowboys? They're in the middle, right?
They are, they're somewhere in the teens,
So
high
you
20s.
know what's going to happen? The Cowboys would love to get Genty, but they're not going to get him.
I don't see it either. But
If Aaron Glenn is smart, he'll survive looking for a quarterback. He needs that dominant running back. I think he has to have a stable, because once you get that running back, you got a defense that is going to be intact. You slowly but surely find that quarterback. Now, if you can work it through a trade and get the right guy that can at least stabilize your team, and you go after that pick that you want, here's the real catch. We don't know where the Jets will end up, right? But boy, wouldn't it be nice if that pick ended up being Arch? 2 years, remember I told you?
well,
Arch only needs a year. I'm going to tell you right now, that dude's coming out after
you think he's
one
coming?
season.
You think he's coming out not this year? You're talking next year.
Oh, yeah. He's coming out next year. And he'll be ready. Now, will the Jets be in a position to go after him? That all depends on how they play this year. And the defense do anything, they'll be in the middle of they'll be just short of the playoffs. Now, they could find the right guy, the right mix, get the right running back, have a stable running game, and a quarterback that's able. You talked about Will. I don't think Green Bay will let him go. I think he's an excellent backup to Love. So they're not going to let him go. So you got to look at what else is available out there. And with what's happening in Oakland, I don't know. So
they need a quarterback.
Everybody's need quarterbacks. So
yeah.
It's going to be a strange year, but I do agree with you. The Jets got to stabilize that thing. They got to get a quarterback. And I think if they can get a young guy and groom him, I don't know who they can go get, even for future backup considerations. Say, okay, I'm going to stabilize the backup quarterback position my first year. Second year, go after and get my starter. I got 2 young guys. I can go get it. If there's a veteran out there that can help stabilize and bring these other 2 young guys, I kind of think that's the mindset Aaron has to take. And if they do that, well, I think they end up really surprising some teams in the East.
Well, it's possible. I think the Buffalo Bills, and I'm kind of rooting for them if I'll go on record right here that to get to the Super Bowl and win it finally. But they've got some firepower out there now. Drake May in New England under Mike Vrabel now. There's going to be the Miami Dolphins. Well, how are they going to reboot? There's a lot to think about.
Look at all these guys moving.
They've got to give Aaron Glenn time, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, because this is an abysmal
Yeah.
quarterback class. I'm sorry, I don't care what the media says. I think I watched all of them in college. I don't see an NFL player among them.
Yep.
And I think it's got to be a bummer if you're the New York Giants or the Cleveland Browns or the Jets, somebody that desperately needs a quarterback. By the way, the Jets pick at 7 and the Cowboys pick at 12 as of today.
Well, I tell you what, Genty's not going to last. If he lasts 7,
I'd be surprised.
I'd be surprised. But the Jets got an opportunity to, I don't even know what their cap is. I don't know what kind of monies they got available. I don't know if they can trade up. I don't know if they can expend an active player that they have on their roster that's attractive enough to move up.
Yeah.
But if they move up, they're moving up for a running back. They're good on defense,
Yeah.
So
You're talking about the Cowboys.
well, I'm talking about those Jets.
Oh, you think they'll Brees Hall? Okay.
Yeah.
No?
It's a
Okay.
possibility. It is really because this is a strange year for the NFL. There are so many players that are making moves, are free to go. I mean, star players. It's almost like the stupid thing called the portal in the college ranks.
What a disaster.
You don't know where anybody's going to end up being. But as far as structurally and trying to develop stability and to have a championship team, you got to go to the drawing board and you got to get aggressive on the drawing board. I think Aaron Glenn's a smart guy, and I think he'll beat those Cowboys in getting to the player they need to have before the Cowboys are in that position, because they can't go out and do anything. They got so much money wrapped up in their team. It's a shame.
I think the Cowboys are in an atrocious position for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
Done.
They sure are.
They're not America's team, as they like to brand themselves. I think you've got to be super bummed out. The Texans in the same state are outrunning them and outplaying them in every way. Real quick before we move subjects, what do you think of Pete Carroll in Las Vegas?
That's what I just mentioned. I think Pete Carroll's good anywhere. Pete
Really?
Carroll is. I do. I've always admired Pete. I thought he was a person he can adjust. He can adapt. He's flexible. He can change an environment immediately if he needed to. And I think he's the right guy. He's got the youthful energy still. And so for him to go to the Raiders, what a great challenge. What a great personality change, too. And I think he can do something. And he's smart enough to get the right people in to make him competitive. He's smart enough to get the right people around him that can come in and coach. And let me tell you, if you want to talk about who really got hosed and got set up, you think about your boy that just left the Raiders. I mean, I think Antonio, I think he really got set up because,
I do too.
yeah, it was just a farce the way it came. And they didn't give him the ability to establish. Everybody wants to come in and go, okay, I want you to instantly change this team, blah, blah, blah. I don't think Aaron Glenn negotiated his contract that way.
I sure hope not.
Antonio went with it. Opportunity to be a great coach for a great franchise. But with your boy coming in there, I think he can do it. And I think he can do it anywhere he goes in the National Football League.
Yep. And if I'm Aaron Glenn or I'm Pete Carroll today, I've got Mike Tomlin of the Steelers on speed dial asking what it'll take to get Justin Fields. What do I got to do to get Justin Fields? Yeah. I just think, well, you could see, because Carroll is such a culture builder, you could see USC 2.0 in Vegas. The environment, the way that culture's built, the players, the vibe, the bad boy image. If Pete Carroll can go out, because he needs a quarterback too, I don't think he's going to go back and get Russell Wilson. Forget about it. I'm calling the Steelers about Justin Fields.
I like
right?
that.
I'm calling
like
him
that.
tomorrow.
Okay. I like
Okay, so
that.
there we go. So shifting gears on the coaching carousel for our last few minutes together. Talk to me about Cam Newton's recent former NFL MVP, superstar during his time playing. Cam Newton, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to me, former NFL player Preston Denard.
I'm just going to tell you this. I don't wear the big brim hats. I don't have the scarf around my neck in 100-degree weather. I'm not trying to be cool. But one thing's for sure. If you're looking for the best, just do me a favor. Give me a call. Just give me a call.
Somebody's
You know,
got you on speed dial right now.
Somebody's got me on speed dial because I'm telling you, I don't know what Cam Newton's talking about, but he's going around talking about, and he went on a podcast talking about Aaron Rodgers is the elite candidate to lead the Jets because his professionalism and because he's dynamic and he's all these great things that he used to be, but we know where Cam Newton is. He's a great dynamic personality. He's a great dynamic quarterback. He's strong. He can run. He can do all that stuff. But look where he is. And what he's doing is inviting Aaron Rodgers to come sit next to him in a podcast show because he don't need to be on that football field. And he thinks he's going to be the savior for the Jets. Aaron Glenn's not waiting on that move. It's been
No.
tried. And you cannot
No.
make a young puppy out of a bruised old man. You get that now. A young puppy out of a bruised old man. Now it just tells me that doesn't mesh. That doesn't go together. So you're not going to, I don't know what he's talking about when he talks about all these things. Yes, Aaron Rodgers used to be all that. Aaron Rodgers does reflect the professionalism of all the things that Cam said. That's the person he is. That's not the player he once was. He's not that guy today. So all those great accolades and all those accomplishments and great comments about him, yeah, that's respect of a guy that used to be a baller in the league. But come on, if you're looking for him to save the Jets,
No.
no, he should have done it this year. He was healthy enough, but he's not the same guy on that healed Achilles. So I think Cam is just way overboard on what he's talking about. It's
trying to
just
get
for
clicks.
show. He's trying to get clicks.
clicks.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. If you're a professional, you think about it. You think about it. The Jets are trying to make a move to go elsewhere because they know they invested in it. They couldn't do it. Anybody that's 2 years down the road, completed their second season, and with an Achilles, he still doesn't have the mobility. You saw his play coming back. Yes, he made a few throws.
Yeah,
but those
he can
few
still
throws,
play.
yeah, he can still play. But those throws, if you look at those throws, those receivers made the catches on those throws because they weren't always great, but he put them in there timely enough, got some shots in there that looked like the old Rodgers, but he can't do it consistently because he can't move out of that pocket. He can't get away from trouble. And so that's the point about Cam's comments. He's not looking at the reality of what was around him because even the guys he had around him, they couldn't keep him free from the rush. They couldn't keep him from having to scramble. So I'm not with it. I don't agree with him at all. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the answer. I think Aaron Glenn's going to make a move to do something with him. If he keeps him on, he's keeping him so he can groom some young bucks. That's it.
Yeah.
But I don't even see him doing that
see
because
it.
they got to move on, get rid of the money, and start fresh.
The game has changed. And
Game
I'm a
has changed.
huge Aaron Rodgers fan, unlike you, but I think he's one of the best players I've ever watched play in his prime. Today, no. Can he still play? Yeah. Is he going to get you to a Super Bowl? That's a whole nother conversation. You're in the AFC East. You're Aaron Glenn. You're calling, just like I said about Pete Carroll, you're calling the Steelers about Justin Fields. You're looking at Malik Willis. You're looking at Joe Milton. You're looking at Hendon Hooker. There's no quarterbacks like that in this draft. Go get one, play defense. And you even heard Sean McVay of the Rams hinting that if Matt Stafford retires, we're going to change our offense. Yeah, he's going to get a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely agree with you. I'd like to see Aaron call it here. Call it. It's done. There's
Yeah.
no reason to go somewhere and stop gap it at 40 years old. Just come on. Take your millions, take some retreats, travel, go to Egypt like you like doing. Do all that stuff.
Yeah.
One of the best I ever saw play. I'll tell you one thing before we close on Cam Newton, and I wanted to bounce this off you really quickly. He's had a lot of interesting comments lately, I think you're right. He's trying for some clicks. But his comment that he is not able to raise his 8 kids the way he used to because the money's drying up. He made over $200 million. Preston, you guys took all the same hits at a time when it was twice as violent, when the healthcare was nowhere near as good. When you hear a guy say, I can't give my 8 kids with a bank account of 200 mil the life they want, have we lost our marbles in the NFL? Do you have $200 million? The fans want to know.
I don't have 200 million, but I can tell you this, that 200,000, it's still in the bank, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have that many kids. I don't have that much money going out. I just have the small craziness of my world, which is a whole lot of fun.
It's okay.
Yeah, but I ain't going there. I don't know what he's talking about because, that's the whole issue about the monies and whether or not these guys are even capable of managing that kind of money. I still think there should be another that's another story.
Yeah, whole nother episode.
A whole nother episode. I don't understand Cam Newton. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I think we're there.
That's the whole-
We're in full agreement on that.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, here comes the controversy. I'm going to get the comments on YouTube and everything. To me, he reminds me a lot of LeBron James.
Yep.
You won the genetic lottery. You were an incredible athlete. Cam is a massive dude and was a great player, won the MVP, went to the Super Bowl, all that stuff. But now it just seems like it's off the rails. And I don't think in today's day and age, an NFL quarterback who retired and has millions upon millions of dollars should get on a show and say, I can't give my 8 kids the things they want. We've got NFL icons that are struggling to walk, that are in wheelchairs, that are, come on, man.
Yeah.
Somebody sit him down and have a chat.
Yeah, please, because us retired guys, do not want to hear that nonsense.
That's
it's
incredible.
not the most important right now. That should be automatically the responsibility you took care of a long time ago, taking care of your babies.
Yep.
You don't know how to do that, brother, I'm sorry. But that's my take on it. And I'm not in agreement with the Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He's something else.
It's interesting.
He
But
is
here we are
interesting.
talking about him, and that's probably what he
Yeah.
wants.
Well, something a lot more pleasurable as we close out this wonderful 30-minute hour, and I'm going to call my 30-minute hour, is for my dear friend over there, Mr. Bauman.
Oh.
I'm going to hold up a photo, and as our parting watching audience has an opportunity to do this as well, I'm going to see in the time that you have, how many of our audience watchers will be able to identify the same amount of people that you have in this photo.
Okay. Oh, keep a little higher. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, photo is there. Is it safe to say, as a hint, that's Super Bowl 14?
That is safe to say. Now
Okay.
I just told you what guys are on that offense, huh?
With the numbers I can see, I can name every one of them personally.
Ooh. Name
Every one of them.
Everybody you see, name.
Okay. Send us your comments, lioncastmedia@gmail.com, and comment on YouTube. Preston might just have a present for you.
Oh, baby.
Look
we
at
might.
that.
One more look. Look at that. Oh,
What a
yes.
great shot. What a
Yeah,
great
that is
shot.
a great shot, isn't it? Wonderful deal.
Oh,
My friend,
so fun.
NCAA basketball is happening. Men, women, wrestling's going on in college right now. They got indoor track and field happening. And Albuquerque is a place for indoor track and field during the winter months.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. We've had
Nice.
the USA Track and Field Championships. We've had all of them. So they come here. They like the elevation. And my running track is in the convention center that those kids run on. So I'm all excited about that. Go watch some good stuff this weekend, my friend. We look forward
Done.
to getting together with you next week.
Love it. Give me your picks real quick in the championship games. Eagles, Commanders.
Unfortunately, it's going to be the Eagles. Love to see the Commanders pull that out,
Me
but I
too.
think it's going to be the Eagles. Yeah, there's just no way. How do you beat? Listen to who I'm going to say. How do you beat Saquon?
Man, he literally, if he wasn't in the game
Yep.
against the Rams are playing tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's how
How do
good
you beat?
Saquon is. He was the game.
That's my
Okay,
take
who
on
do you?
that one.
Yeah, I agree. Who do you like? Bills, Chiefs.
Well, I'm automatically going Bills. Everybody's got the Chiefs. Well, a lot of people got the Chiefs. But I look at this. If there's a faltering year for the Chiefs, it's this year.
Yep.
It's right now. And the Bills have been pushing on the door the last 3 years. They're not going to be like those 90 teams and go 4 years to a Super Bowl.
No.
And don't win.
No
it.
one can anymore.
This is
Yeah.
the year for the Bills. They're
Yep.
ready. They're set. They're healthy. I mean, even you got Hamlin out there playing his butt off. I mean, you got everybody that you need to have available, and they're balling.
Yep.
And you know what I like about that? When the young man left, what's the receiver? I forget his name right now. That left and went to Houston, and he got injured the first part of the season.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, he's hating himself right now because, the Bills are built to win.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can see how strong the team is in regards to what they've been through, and they haven't stopped. They haven't missed a beat, and they keep on knocking at the door. So
Couldn't
Bills,
agree more.
and
Couldn't
I say
agree more.
Bills by 7.
Okay. I'm going to go Bills by 14. I think this is
All
it.
right.
I think if you're going to sleep tonight, a Buffalo Bills fan, this is it. You must beat the Chiefs this year, right now. The window is open. Don't let it close.
The window
That's
is
it.
open. Yeah.
All right. All right, my man. Well, thanks for joining us this week here on Gridiron Icon, the podcast. Give us all your thoughts at the usual places. See if you can name the greats in this black and white photo that Preston's holding up. Look at it on YouTube. As for me and number 88, enjoy the games and sports this weekend, and we will see you next week.